Okay, and we are off with Intro to Google Classroom. Okay, we're going to watch this quick overview of Google Classroom, sort of like a little exploratory video here that I've created, or I haven't created, I just found it on YouTube. I'd like you, as you watch, to take note of a few things. What intrigues you, what impresses you, and what you didn't know you could do. So this is about a 3-minute video. It goes fast. Keep your eyes peeled. Okay, so it was a lot packed into 3 minutes. So my question to you is if you have any, so if you would like to unmute or if you would like to go ahead and chat, my question to you. Yes, I'm sorry, Carol, the video was very small on your screen. I apologize for that. But questions or what intrigued you, what amazes you, what do you think? Anyone have any questions that they'd like to type in the chat or just ask? What I'm going to do is everything that was a header in that video, everything that was a little bit about like, you know, managing students, inviting guardians, grades, things like that, we're going to discuss today. So I hope that helps in some way. So let's actually go ahead and get started right away with it. All right, so the first thing you want to do, hold on one second here, bear with me. I'm going to share my screen again. So to get started, it's very, very simple. You can do one of two things. All right, I'm going to open a new tab. I could go to classroom.google.com. That's one way to access it. Because I use it a lot, it's always going to show up on my home page for Google. But I always like to just go to the waffle. This is technically called an app launcher. I like food, so I call it a waffle. So if I click on the waffle, you'll see that I've got the icon there for Google Classroom. If it's your first time using Google Classroom, however, you may not see it right there. And so that's why I also offer the alternative to type in classroom.google.com, because once you do that and hit enter the first time, you'll see that when you hit the waffle, the classroom icon is always going to be there. So let me go ahead, and that will take me to my classroom dashboard. So what you're seeing right now is my Google Classroom dashboard. These are classes that I have facilitated. These are courses. Actually, I'm part of a course right now helping out another teacher manage Google Classroom. So these are all of the classes that I teach and the classes in which I am a student. Now, let me explain something very clearly. This is a big caveat. I want to make something very, very clear. Google Classroom is not a website. It is not a website. I have seen too many teachers, and I'm not shaming. It's just we didn't know. When you know better, do better, says Maya Angelou. Too many teachers have used Google Classroom just to post announcements or to post assignments. It's really much, if you want to have a website, I highly recommend Google Sites. In fact, I recommend all teachers have two things. A Google site, you know, it's a good reference for parents where you house your resources, your FAQs, videos, things like that. Google Classroom is a learning management system, or LMS. And what that means is it allows students, it basically is just an online classroom. So everything that you could do face-to-face, you know, students, you pass out work to students, you assign them work, they complete it and then turn it in as they would brick and mortar. They can do it online in Google Classroom. So if that helps you in any way, it really helps manage the workflow and puts everything online or in the cloud. So I just wanted to make that part very clear. Okay, so here we are looking at the dashboard, and the user interface is very intuitive. It's very clear. So this is my dashboard. These are classes, like I said, that I have already run. I tend to, as a coach, with my book studies and my online courses, I use Google Classroom because many teachers say to me how nice it is to be able to see Google Classroom and use Google Classroom from the point of view of a student. All right, so here's what you're going to see. You're going to see this great little to-do list. If you are a fan of lists, then this to-do list is going to be awesome for you. Now, when I click mine, I don't have any current classes going on, but I click the to-do list and I can organize it by classes. And here's the list of where I'm going to get, like right now, these are my assignments that I have to complete because I'm a student. But if I had things to do for the classes I teach, you'd see a long list here, but I could also click that little down button and check out all my other classes. All right, I can use the back arrow to go back to my dashboard, or food again. I'm going to click my hamburger and I can go back to my dashboard. This is also helpful for teachers, this little button that says to review. So this is going to tell me all of the things, here you can see, things that I need to grade, things that have been turned in, things that I need to check out for all of my classes. And it gets to be a really long list. And that's why it's helpful to be able to use this toggle button to organize and go through all of my classes. So I can go ahead and see what I need to do, excuse me, with my Google Classroom Basics course. Back to the hamburger. Also, every time you create a classroom in Google Classroom, it's going to appear on your Google Calendar. It's what's so great about it. It's totally integrated. So due dates will automatically appear on your calendar and students' Google calendars. So you don't need to go list things separately anywhere else. As soon as you create an assignment in Google Classroom, it automatically gets uploaded to your calendar and to your students' calendars. So that's easy peasy as well. You'll also notice with each class, you have two things here. For the classes that you create, you have a place to automatically open the grade book for that course, and you also have a folder. In fact, let me go here. Every time you create a class in Google Classroom, it automatically creates a folder for you in Google Drive. So if I go ahead, let me just show you what that looks like. I'm going to click that. This was a course I taught over the summer. It was a book study on the HyperDoc handbook. And if I click that folder, boom, there it is. You'll see in the, here, let me close that. You'll see here in the breadcrumb trail that it goes My Drive Classroom. And this was the book study, the HyperDoc handbook. So these were materials that I had created for the class. They're automatically housed there, so I don't have to go hunting. And you'll also notice that every time you create an assignment, a folder automatically creates, auto-populates there as well, which is great because I can just click on it and there's all my students' work in one place, just like if they had turned it into an inbox on my desk. So that's, again, the integration is super easy. So if you are fearful about Google Classroom, I hope you can see right here, just from the interface, how easy it is to use and how easy they make it for you. So you don't have to create a classroom and then go create folders in Google Drive and then add it to Calendar. So everything is there as you need it. And that is a quick overview of Google Class, of the dashboard, of just how to even access Google Classroom. I'm looking over here at my notes, making sure I've got everything covered. So our second step now is to go ahead and create our first class. And again, some of you may already have done this, so feel free to jump in with any of your advice or anything else that you want to add. We'd be happy to have it. Super easy to do. All you need to do is click the plus sign. They make it really easy. I click the plus sign and I have the ability, because again, as a teacher, I could join a class. You'll find, maybe you've already noticed this in your own districts, that the principal may have created Google Classroom for all of the teachers, so you can join a class that way. But today we're going to talk about just creating a class. And those are your two options, boom. And it's intuitive. Click a plus sign, create a class, done. This window pops up. Not everything is required, but the first thing is you have to give it a name. So I'm just going to call this DeMichele Demo. Call it anything you want. You have the option here to add a section. So if you have multiple sections of the same class, so for example, I was a high school English teacher, taught 9th and 10th grade. I might, put 9th here. I might put the subject here if I want, and you'll notice what's nice is things just sort of pop up. Actually, the section might be period 1. And I can also go ahead and put the room number if I wanted to as well. I will admit to being slightly anal retentive. I like to fill in all the blanks and give people as much information as possible. So I would go ahead and do that. I'm going to give you a special hack. If you are doing online teaching right now, I saw this on Twitter and I cannot remember who put it, but I just saw it. There are teachers are putting in the times now that the course would meet. So I know some schools are hybrid, so you might want to put in the time. So you might want to be able to do that. You could do that in the section or room. It's up to you. But I thought that's a pretty cool hack, especially to keep students and even parents who are helping out, make it easy and in one place to see everything. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that as is. And then I go ahead and I click create. It's taken a little bit. Sorry, I might have people here on Wi-Fi with me, so bear with me. There we go. All right, and there is my class. So what you're going to see immediately from this page is over here, again, the hamburger, which will take me back to my classroom dashboard. The name of the class, I put in the information as to when we meet. You're going to see 4 tabs: the stream tab, the classwork tab, the people tab, the grades tab. Of course, every time you see a gear, that's the universal symbol for settings. So if you ever have a question about, oh, I want you to think intuitively. Again, I have a question. I need to make a change to my Google Classroom. I want you to think gear. I want you to think settings, and maybe go there first. Help solve your own problems. Here is what we call the header. So we call this the header in the stream. It automatically creates something for you. So you'll see there it is. It gives you an image. You can go ahead and select another theme if you wanted to. It's entirely up to you. And it'll change. You also have the ability to upload anything that you want. You can go ahead and upload your own and customize your own stream header. If you click that up and down arrow, you get a little bit more information. Here, we'll talk about the class code in a minute, but this is the code you use to invite students to join your classroom. Again, you don't need to have a spreadsheet with all of their information and their emails. Google Classroom is very good about listening to teacher feedback and making updates and changes. Also, this is sort of new. This was because of pandemic teaching. Speaking of, Google Classroom went ahead and made this change where you can create a specific one-time Meet link for this specific class. I use this a lot, I will tell you, and I'm going to keep it visible to students. Why wouldn't I? I want them to be able to join the Meet when we have our FaceTime. But you'll see here that this is a dedicated Google Meet link, and it is dedicated for this specific class. If I create another class, I would generate another link. But it's nice, again, to have students to have everything in one place instead of students, having to create, or you having to create new Meet links every time you want to have FaceTime with students. This has been used. Yes, go ahead, jump right in.
Yes, I'm going to interrupt you because you said you wanted to interrupt.
Do it.
How'd you get that option to have that link there? I'm looking on mine and I don't, link you just talked about.
So are you in your personal account or your school account?
We don't have a school account, so I'm in my personal account.
Okay, so you will not have that option in your personal account.
Okay.
Fortunately.
Okay.
Here's your class. Like I said, the stream, the classwork, the people, and the grades. All right. Stream is basically for announcements. So here, and again, here's what you're going to see on your end. You're going to see the ability. Here's like another list, which is nice, of all the things that you have due. Let's talk about these functions. Stream is like for announcements. Classwork is where you're posting the assignments. So again, think old school, whether you're posting them on the chalkboard or the whiteboard, or students are writing them in assignment notebooks. Here's where all of the information goes. People, this is where you'll see the teachers who are teaching the class. So I am the teacher, and if I wanted to, I could add a co-teacher. And just so you know, when I invite another teacher, the co-teacher has all the same abilities to manage my Google Classroom, except he or she cannot delete it. And when students come in, this is where you're going to see their names. and then a grade book. Now I'm going to show you grade book in a little bit. If we have a chance, I'll show you what the grade book looks like from one of my classes. Okay, so we have created our first class. Hooray, hooray for us. Now let's add students. All right, and again, Google makes it super easy. Each class has a dedicated class code, and here it is.
Can I interject?
Please.
Can you show me where you go to initially create the classroom?
Absolutely.
Thank
So I'm going to click the hamburger, and it'll take me to the main menu or the dashboard, and I go to classes. And in my dashboard, over here where the plus sign is, I click the plus sign, and then I can go ahead and create a class.
Got it. Thank you.
My pleasure. Okay, so we've got our first class. Here we go. And I want to invite students, because what's the point of having class if I can't invite students? So I've got a dedicated class code. When I click that little window button or window icon, it expands. So there's a couple things you can do to join. Like, again, when I was doing face-to-face, when I was, in brick and mortar classrooms, I would simply say, I would display the code on the screen in front of the class, and students would do the same thing that we did. They went to classroom.google.com, click the plus sign, and then hit join classroom, not create, join. That's key. Sometimes students mess up and they get all confused. So this is another recent addition to Google Classroom, is the copy invite link. So all you have to do, like I just did, is I just click that button. You'll see down here it says the link is copied. So I could put that link in my website. I could put the link in an email. I could put it in a remind notification. And what that does, so I've copied the invite link. Let me go as let me see. Okay, so there's the invite link. It's been copied, and I press that, and there you go. It's asking me to join the class as a student. So that's so again, that's another easy way to do it, because again, back in the day, and I've worked K through 12, trying to get primary students to type this in and say, okay, it's case sensitive, and it could be torturous. So sometimes it's just easier to be able to send them an invite link. All right. I am also going to show you in the classroom settings. So remember I said that gear? So here we go. I've got my class details. I can edit them if I need to. But I wanted to show you this under general, because again, Google tends to, there's never just one way to do things with Google. They like to give you multiple paths. So here's another path that you can do. If you go into settings and you're looking at your invite codes for students, you have a little drop-down menu here, and you have the ability, if you want to close off a class, you can hit disable. And that way, no more invites. Everyone who's in is in, everyone's in the pool, no more room in the pool, no one can join. So you can disable the invite code. You can also hit reset. Maybe, for whatever reason, you don't like the invite code, or the L looks like a 1 and it gets confusing. So you can go ahead and reset that as well. Here's the, again, actual invite link. So you can go ahead and copy that there. And then there's the class code. And of course you can display it. Like I said, Google likes to give you multiple paths to do the same things. Okay. What I will show you is what it does. Let me go back to my classes. All right, I added myself. This class is closed, but I wanted to show you what it looks like from the student thing. So I've added myself as a student to this class. So once your students start populating, there's a couple things you can do. You can choose to sort them by first name or last name. It's entirely up to you. Remember, 3 dots, just like in English. I always tell people, I was an English teacher, 3 dots for me is an ellipsis, and it means more to come. Well, when you see it stand tech-wise, when you see it standing vertically, same thing. Check here, there's more to come. So if I check that, I have the ability to go ahead and email a student with, and what happens is, you know, and unfortunately I can't do it because the ESC does not have Gmail, so I cannot, but if I were to do this, I would click this and a Gmail would pop right up and I'd be able to directly email the student within Google Classroom without having to leave Google Classroom, open up a new tab for my Gmail, and then forget what I was supposed to email that student. So it's all built in. I also have the ability to check mark the student. And what I could do with my actions is I can go ahead, again, email the student, remove a student, or you know what, sometimes students, maybe I need to take a pause on a student for classroom management issues until I talk to the parent. So this is another way. It's kind of like kicking your student out of a classroom, but not technically. Maybe just we call it taking a pause for a while. So it's entirely up to you how you want to manage that. Okay, any questions about adding students and how to do that?
Stephanie, I have a question about, does the interface look any different on a Chromebook than what we're looking at now? Our kids all have Chromebooks. Okay.
Yeah. So again, since this is cloud-based, what you see is what you get. So I'm on a Mac. That's a really valid question. This is a Mac. So this is going to appear the same on a PC, on a Mac, or on a Chromebook. Okay, so but right now you have to remember we're in teacher view right now. So it doesn't matter what device I'm using because this is cloud-based, this is what I'm going to see across all devices. It may look a little different on your phone if you're using the app. So it would look a little bit different, but they try to keep it, you know, just they have to condense it into a phone. Any other questions about adding students? Okay, now let's talk about inviting guardians, because this is where some people get confused. Now, because I don't have any students, we're going to watch another quick video. And I promise this time, I've learned my lesson, I'm going to expand the video to make it a little bit bigger for you. The thing about adding guardians, and let me briefly explain this, guardians will not have complete access to Google Classroom. In other words, you can't have a guardian go into a student's account, a student's Google Classroom. Instead, guardians get email notifications. I've already said too much. Let's watch.
Once your student has accepted the invitation to join your class, you may want to add a parent or guardian to receive updates daily or weekly. In order to do that, I'm going to go to a class that has students enrolled already, and you'll see here I have an option to invite guardians. You may see a guardian email address already here if another teacher with the same student has already invited them to join. So again, I'm going to click Invite Guardians and add the address here. And again, select the recipient. If the student has more than one guardian, you can go ahead and add an additional one now. And select Invite. And what I'll see here is invited in parentheses. When the parent accepts the invitation, both the teacher and the student receive an email saying that that invitation has been accepted. I hope this helps get your classroom populated with students and helps keep parents and guardians informed of what's going on in your classroom. Thanks for watching.
So again, guardians will get an email saying, hey, guess what? So here's what's coming up. Here's what's due this week. Here's what your student has missed. And here's what here are some grades. And the reason we do that, the reason we don't give parents access, Google, doesn't give parents access to Google Classroom is because, again, we're trying to create a sense of student agency. There's plenty of ways students can see what's due. They've got Google Classroom, just like you over here on the side. They're going to see a list of upcoming assignments and due dates and things like that. So there's plenty. Students are never not going to know what's due, but it's also the Guardian invitation and the Guardian weekly summary is just a nice little nudge so that a parent might be able to tap on and say, hey, I see that you're missing an assignment or you have something coming up. And I think that, again, we want to create student agency, and the idea of allowing guardians just to sort of peek over the shoulder helps out a little bit. Any questions about inviting guardians and emailing students? Okay, we're going to move on now to communicating with students using the classroom stream. So again, I mentioned up here you have 4 tabs with very specific functions. The stream, I cannot stress this enough. If you're writing it down, please use the stream for communication. The stream is just really for announcements. Classwork, again, where you put the assignments, people, it's like just a list of who's in your class and grades, grade book. But I want to talk carefully about the stream here. This is where you communicate with your class. You create and schedule announcements. You respond to student posts. In fact, let me just show you briefly. Here we go. This was my summer class on Google Classroom Basics. And so I would put like, a little good morning announcement. Lots of teachers like to use it, the morning meeting. It can be overwhelming, so please, my best recommendation to you is to use it sparingly. Don't just constantly think, oh, I should have said that. Just keep a piece of paper or a Google slide or a Google Doc of things you want your students to know and send out one daily announcement with links, because that's the best part about all of this is that you can add links and students can comment to your announcements. So you can see these are just basic announcements. I wanted to let my students know, hey, guess what? We have virtual office hours today. Here, by the way, I do these little more, this was something I did just as teachers were experiencing Google Classroom. I would say, hey, guess what? Now you're experiencing it as a student. Here's just a little thing you might want to know. Morning announcements, like here you go. And students would go ahead and respond to me.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Is there an option to record the announcement so students could listen?
Okay, so there is not, but I would highly recommend if you want to make here's what I recommend. I recommend using Screencastify for that. I try to insert as much video as possible. So if you want to do morning announcements, I highly recommend creating a Screencastify video and doing it that way. And then I'll show you, you can attach that Screencastify video to your morning announcement.
Stephanie, are comments that students post moderated, or will all students be able to see all comments?
Okay, so you have that's a nice segue into my next point. That's what I wanted to show you. Because if you're I want you to star this. This is really super duper important. So I want to moderate the idea of announcements and who can post to the stream. And by the way, your stream is set up so that the most recent announcements go to the top and the oldest ones will kind of sink to the bottom. Make sure you use the settings tab, that little settings gear. And if you go down here, I want to give you a couple really important points. Under stream, you have the choice with this little drop-down arrow. Students can post and comment. Students can only comment, or only teachers can post and comment. Now, again, I'm not going to proselytize. This is entirely up to you. Listen, I've been there. I've had kiddos who can't necessarily control themselves. It's the way of the world. So maybe you don't necessarily want them posting to the stream. That's okay. You can go ahead. I would certainly let them comment. This is I'd say about 90% of the teachers do this part. Students can only comment. Now, let's say a student, you have a kiddo who's like, hey, guess what? I'm in a play and I want my classmates to be there. I would just, from the outset say, hey kiddos, if you have a post that you want your classmates to know about or an event, email it to me and I'll post it on your behalf. So that's kind of a way to get around that. So you can do students can only comment. This is the biggie, and I don't know why they haven't fixed this. I was like, fingers crossed that Google Classroom would fix this over the summer, and they did not. So I was kind of bummed. But if you learned anything today, do this. Hide notifications. For some reason, every time you post or create a new assignment, it's going to show up in the stream. And you want your stream just to be for announcements and not cluttered. So if you do anything today, please, oh please, oh please, make sure that with your classwork, you do not want classwork appearing on the stream. You just want announcements. So make sure that you hide notifications. And I don't know why I always toggle this off. I don't know why you would want to show deleted items, but I keep that, I keep that toggled off. Okay, so yeah, that is the information you want to know about stream and communicating with students in the stream. Any questions about that? Okay, so same thing. It's just super duper easy. We're talking about morning announcements. I'm going to go ahead and put right now, you'll notice here I have the option. Again, I can put it to all my classes. I can only choose certain students. So I can send an announcement to all students, or maybe just I have a certain group of students that need an announcement. I could make sure that I check them, and they're the only people who would get that announcement. It would appear in their stream, but not the streams of other students. And I have the option here, as you can see, to add something from my Google Drive, a link to a website, a file like a PDF or something like that, or a YouTube video. And I have the ability here when I'm ready to post it, I can post it immediately by clicking post, or I can use the drop-down menu. I do this all the time. I probably use Save Draft and Schedule about 85% of the time when I'm working in Google Classroom, because I just want to make sure, I want to make sure, here's the thing, as soon as you hit post, students get an automatic email notification that you've posted something. And if you want to be like, oh, I wish I could take that back. So it's always a good idea until you get comfortable. I like to just go ahead and maybe save it as a draft, and then it'll go to draft stage. So here you're going to see it right now. I've saved it as a draft, and there it is. It's a saved announcement, and I can go back to it or schedule it. So I've done that. I do that plenty with my Google Classroom, is I'll choose a time to schedule it so that it goes out automatically, and I would be like, oh gosh, I have to get that announcement before the kids show up. So those are your friends. I'm going to keep this as a draft right now. All right. Stream. Any other questions about stream? Okay. Basics again. Let's talk about classwork. Again, could not be easier. Again, look at these buttons. I want to launch a Google Meet, fine, boom, right away. I want to look at my Google Calendar, boom, right away in the class drive folder. But the best part about creating is this is where you assign your work. And there it is, just a plus button. And I have the ability to create an assignment, to create a quiz assignment. That's not something we're going to talk about today. It's a Google Form quiz version. It's a little more detailed. Post a question, a pulse check, a formative. You're thinking thumbs up, thumbs down with students? Ask a question. Materials. I like to create, so for example, I like to create materials or things that students might use throughout the course of the year. So periodic table of elements, your syllabus, a chart of geometric shapes. So any times tables. Anything that might be something that students are going to refer to throughout the course of the year, consider making it a material. And then I would add, I'm just going to literally add something from my Google Doc, even though it's not a times tables, I'm just going to randomly assign it right here. All right, here we go. There we go. I'm adding it. Insert. There you go. All right, I can add more. This is where I type directions for students. Same thing with the material. Now you notice I haven't added a topic. We're going to talk about topics here. I love topics. Remember how I mentioned I'm anal retentive? I love topics. I like to keep things organized. So I can go ahead and create a topic, and I'm going to call this classroom resources. I'm going to go ahead and post it right now. And there it is. Here's the topic. Here's the material. So it's good to, in fact, let me quickly show you, because I did mention I'm very organized. So in this class that I created, these are all my topics: course information, bonus features, resources. So here's an example. These are all—
Stephanie, you're not showing your screen anymore.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm sitting here like just randomly showing you guys. I'm so
It was
sorry.
only the last few seconds.
Yeah,
Okay.
it just stopped.
I think when, yeah.
What a dope. I get so excited. I need like someone poking me going, did you present? Did you present? Dope. Sorry. Okay. So this is, I mentioned the resources. So these are my topics. Okay. And you can tell, because they have a line underneath them, and you can tell what a material is or a resource because of the icon. It's a little book with a bookmark, and that indicates that it is a classroom resource. Oh my gosh. So what did you guys not see? I feel like I let everybody down here.
No, we saw most of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you stopped sharing your screen, though, one of my questions was,
Yeah.
so if you wanted to, like when you said materials and you talked about posting a syllabus, and I thought, oh, it's just going to go to the bottom of the stream. Anytime you want to see the syllabus, you got to search and search and search. But then you showed us topics.
Ta-da!
Yeah. So you could
Topics
just,
are
topic could be syllabus, right? Or something
Yeah.
like that, so that you don't have
Topic.
to search and search and search.
Yeah, and same thing. All I have to do is go here to create, and I go to topic, and again, I could type, this is unit 1. There's a topic, and I can create another topic. Some teachers aren't doing them by units. Some teachers choose to do it by week. So week of October 12th. You can do it in any way, and you have this click and drag function. So I can move these topics anywhere I want and put them in any order that I want as well, which is really nice. All right. So you can tell that's a resource or a material because it has that little book. Now, if I want to go ahead and create an assignment, I'm going to give it a title. Right, I'll put some instructions here for students. Again, I can add anything I want, Google Drive link, or if I'm like, oh, just on the spur of the moment, I haven't created something, I don't have to leave. I can just go ahead and create right from there. If I have some a doc that I want to create on the spot for them, or slides or form sheets or anything, I can go ahead and create it on the spot if I want to. I can choose again. Maybe I have student cohorts, so I only want to send this intro to certain students. I can choose. I can assign it a point value. It automatically goes to 100, so you can give it anything you want. You can easily make it ungraded. You can choose a due date and a time. And again, the beauty of online learning is that you don't have to stick to a necessary schedule. You can make everything due at the end of the week. And again, you can assign it a topic or create a topic. I'm going to put it under week of October 12th. We're not going to talk about rubrics today because that's not a basic that requires a little more. We just want to learn the basics and get you started. And here you'll see I have the same functionality. I can assign, schedule, save draft, or I can go ahead and start. I'm just going to go ahead and assign it so that you can see what it looks like. All right, and there you see. Now, you're seeing it from the teacher view. I have a quick video where I want to show it to you what it looks like from the student view because it's helpful to understand that. We might run a little bit over. I see we're kind of running short on time. And I did want to talk about, just maybe give me 10 more minutes if you don't. And if you have to go, don't worry, because as you know, I have been recording all of these. And as long as you have the Wakelet board, you give me an hour to 2 hours after our webinar, and I make sure to put the recording right in there. So if you have to bail, totally get it. But the work will be here for you on our Wakelet board. Okay, so, I wanted to show you what it looks like from the student view.
I need to be in this classroom. And if I would, I'll go back and show you that in each of the classrooms, it shows you the assignments that are due as well. So you can click on the assignment here, or you can go into the classroom and look at your upcoming assignments and click on your upcoming assignments. So I'm gonna click on this word problem that's due on Monday. And I'm going to go into your work. I am in the word problem assignment, and I'm going to go into the your work tab. And I'm gonna click, it says my name, and it tells me that my assignment is in Google Docs. So here's my assignment. Once I've completed my assignment, what I'm gonna do is turn my assignment in. So at the top of the page, right next to that blue share button is the turn in button. I am going to click on turn in. And it's gonna take me back to my Google Classroom. And the box is gonna pop up that tells me, are you ready to turn it in? Turn in your work. And I'm gonna click on turn in. So if I look at my work to the right, I'm gonna see that I have turned it in, and there's an unsubmit button. You don't wanna click on that unsubmit button, then you're unsubmitting your assignment that you've already turned in.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. So that is a student explaining what her work looks like as a student in Google Classroom. And I will tell you, the unsubmit button is a nice feature, because when a student submits work to you, here's what happens. It just like in a brick and mortar classroom, you take it from them and it becomes your property, in essence. So if they wanted to make a revision to it, they would hit the they would hit the unsubmit button. It would come back to them and become their property, and they can make revisions and then submit it again. Any questions?
Can you share the link to that video of the student view?
Actually, I will tell you, I think I have it here.
Okay.
I think I do. Yeah, here it is, video student view, turning in an assignment in Google Classroom. So it's all there in the Wakelet board. Okay, and finally, the last thing I want to talk about is grading and returning. So let me show you real quickly. Out of myself as a student. Here's the thing about the grade book. Google Classroom has not yet done an integration. They've only done integration with Infinite Campus. So if your SIS for your district is Infinite Campus, hooray for you. Your grades will automatically integrate into Infinite Campus. If not, you're probably going to have to do, unfortunately, you'll have to take the grade from Google Classroom and put it into your grade book, whether it's progress book or whatever it is. Google Classroom is, though, in the process of working with partnerships with other student information systems. So grading, this is where you're going to see the grade book. You'll see who's turned it in. You'll see who's missing. I'm going to show you another quick video real quickly because, again, I don't have any students right now. So let me go ahead. But I did want to show you that you can download grades. So while, you might not want to have to go back and forth entering grades, if you wanted to, within each assignment. Okay, so let's take a look at this assignment. Here's the assignment from the teacher view. If I click view assignment and I go over here to the gear, I can copy all of the grades. So let's say I had 20 students right here. You'd see them all right there. I could download the grades as a CSV file, or I can just go ahead and download it to a Google Sheet. And then I could copy and paste into my grade book, or I could print it out if I needed to do it that way. So there is a way to do that. But let me show you what it looks like, what grading looks like. All right, I'll show you this.
Go ahead and just click on the two assignments. I can see the two students that have turned it in here. And when I go ahead and click on them, and this is what I like how Google Classroom has changed. This can save you a lot of time. I can go through, and so you can see there's Ashton here, but I can click on this.
Oh, sorry about the buffering. All right, someone is hogging up my Wi-Fi. Awesome. All right, no worries. We're going to make this happen. What you would see, let me click on the assignment. All right, this is what Jane was talking about. All of the assignments, all of the student work for one assignment is going to show up in one place. I don't have to have multiple tabs open. These arrows allow me to click through student work. So I can select the next student, or I can select the previous student. A new tab will not open up. It just means it's like shuffling through papers. Okay, so that's great too. This down arrow, if I had more students in my class at the time, I would be able to go ahead. That's another way I can sort through students. Google's multiple paths. I can sort by first name, last name, or status. Missing, returned, graded. That's so awesome about this. And then over here, I get a history of what students have turned in. So here you're going to see that I've turned it in with a timestamp. So if a student is ever like, oh, I totally turned it in on time, well, I've got a little history here. Or I can, and if I click that, I'll be able to see the full history of the work and when it was assigned and when it was returned and when it might be resubmitted and all that good stuff. I can assign a grade directly in here. This was a rubric assignment, so I know he said talk about a rubric, but I don't want to do that at this time. I have a place here to add private comments for students. I can go ahead and do that right there, and that student will get an email with my private comment. I can also just go ahead, and I wish I had had this available to me when I was an English teacher and reading 5,000 essays. If I highlight something and hit the comment button, I can, yeah, go ahead. Jump on in.
Can students see each other's work?
No.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Only you. So again, think of it in terms of it's just an online way of doing an offline thing. Your work, students would hand in work to you, and it's yours in a file, like a manila file folder, and only you can see it. Same thing here. So now I can add some things like that's interesting, or whatever. I can add all kinds of comments about student work and comment it, and it will appear on that student document as a comment, which is really nice. Comment bank, if you're feeling really interesting, if you're feeling excited, this would have been useful to me as an English teacher. I could have said, instead of writing this on student essays, okay, put, so you create a comment bank of your most common comments. So for example, so here I go. All right, let's pretend this is a comma splice. I'm going to hit, I've highlighted the word, or let's just highlight the whole. I'm going to highlight this. We're going to pretend that's a comma splice. I'm going to hit the comment button. I'm going to hit the hashtag. And look what happens. My comment bank appears. And all I have to do is that and comment. And the work, again, student agency. I'm not making the changes for the students. They have to do it themselves. If you want to get crazy, let's say you want to maybe provide a link. Let's say there's a comma splice video that you want students to watch so they understand. You could put a link in there. And students, or any common error that students make, and put the onus of learning it on them instead of you having to take away valuable class time explaining things. So that is why I love Google Classroom. Okay, and those are the basics. I can't believe I did Google Basics, well, a little over an hour. I will tell you best practices. If you would like, yeah, go ahead, questions.
Yeah, I was wondering, when you talked about the screencastify, is that where you could put in that link then if you needed to make oral comments? Because we have some non-readers.
Yes.
And that, because they would not be able to read our comments, we have to orally give them the comments.
Same thing. That's an excellent question. So hold on, let me show you real quickly. So same thing. Okay, I'm making sure to share my screen this time. Boo. All right, so in the assignment, I could certainly provide a link, and I've seen teachers do this with emerging readers and ELLs, is that they'll click Screencastify. Now remember, Screencastify is awesome. If you attended my Screencastify webinar, you know that if I just do, I have to record something, but if I just hit my microphone and I say, and I can say things, and I would hit, let's pretend I hit record, and I'm saying, okay, we need to talk about your comma splices, or perhaps, this would be a good place for a transition, or I don't think you have enough evidence, I'm recording. I would hit stop record. And then you also have the ability in Screencastify, and if you don't know that, go back to my Screencastify webinar on our YouTube channel. You can just export audio and then share that audio link for emerging readers. I'm going to be a squirrel here for a moment. If you remember the movie Up, the dog's like, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. I will tell you, there is a great, and it's not free. So if you can get someone, if you can agree, because it will be invaluable. You can get a subscription. I think it's $49 for a year. You can ask your admin. It's called Moat. The Moat Chrome extension allows you to provide voice notes. So you can see hold on, let me try this again. All right, I have the Moat extension, and it's about $49 a year, but it's invaluable. You talk to your admin and make sure that you get it. And this Moat, what it does here is now, I'm gonna hit Moat. Stephanie, I really like your thinking, but I think you really need an introductory transition before you start writing. Also, please be sure to provide more evidence in your writing. So look at that. I hit reply. Not only will students have a voice recording, they'll get it doesn't do it perfectly, but it transcribes your voice. I'm telling you, I think Moat is indeed a must-have. If you have emerging language learners, emerging readers, English language learners, anything like that, I would look into Moat. It's this little purple Chrome extension right up there. So,
and the student doesn't need the extension, just the person who's creating the recording.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool.
Okay. All right, so just wanted to wrap up here. Thank you for putting up with the technology issues on my end and my being a dope and forgetting to record myself. But I did want to share with you. So on the Wakelet board, and let me drop this in the chat again. Let me do that right now. In our Wakelet board, I've got everything we talked about. And not only do I have everything we talked about, you have a choice under each topic. I've created a video or a step-by-step walkthrough. So everything that we've talked about is in the Wakelet board. If you would like to apply for, and here are some great resources, videos created by teachers if you're just getting started. We've got the Help Center for Google Classroom, how to troubleshoot, and a great video. This guy, I love this guy. He's a Canadian guy, Tech Teachers or Teachers for Tech. Got a great YouTube channel. If you would like to apply for your certificate of learning, You'll have to fill out this Google form, and I've added something a little fun this week. I've added a quizzes. So it's a little quizzes. It's a little formative to test yourself. If you've never used quizzes before, it's awesome sauce. Students love it. This is not necessarily mandatory. I would, just test yourself. It's fun. But try, I want to know what's one thing you know about Google Classroom, but you weren't asked, because I can try and help you out if I can, and also identify one new thing you learned today about Google Classroom that will have a huge impact on your workflow. Once you finish that Google form and submit it, I will issue you a certificate of learning for 1 hour. Don't forget, I have office hours and free coaching. Here's my instructional tech, my catalog for the fall, and if you need anything, please don't forget, for the month of October, I have a promotion going on called Trick or Tweet, where I am doing digital do-overs. So anything that you've ever done in the classroom, old school, brick and mortar, I've turned it into online. So for example, like this 4-corner teacher reached out, said, I love 4 corners, but I'm teaching online. Can you help me figure it out? So I'm here for you. Thank you for staying in there as long as you did. I really appreciate all of you being here. And if you need anything, I'm here. You've got this. I promise.